All right. Good morning, everyone. I hope we're doing well this fine day after Easter. Here in the Pacific Northwest, we had a blessed day of sunshine. That's been kind of a rare thing lately, but still, we had a great day. It was beautiful, and we had a great Easter breakfast at my house. I don't know what your tradition is, and all of our kids are grown, so we have to rely on grandkids. And fortunately for us, that many of them live close to us, and so we were able to have an Easter breakfast. So that's always a lovely thing to be able to do. Thank you for joining me today, and this is my continuing education on using essential oils for your everyday life and everyday needs. I know there's a lot of hype out there today about essential oils. There are many different companies that have essential oils. There are companies that never had essential oils that all of a sudden they've got essential oils to sell to you. And what I really want to say to you is please do all of your homework. Essential oils, even though they say on the label 100% pure, does not mean that's everything that you're getting, and the quality that you're getting, maybe the plant material was not an exceptional plant matter. This is something you really have to take in consideration, because when you are looking at, good morning Leilani, when you're looking at a when you're looking at an essential oil off the shelf somewhere, please do your homework. Too many essential oils out there are and do have fillers that are highly toxic to your animals and you, so always read the label. I use doTERRA essential oils because of many different reasons, but the biggest one is because the integrity of the company is all about purity of product. And they call it CPTG, which is Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade. That is a standard of quality with this company, with doTERRA, that it meets that standard every single time. It doesn't matter if an essential oil comes over with 95% or 98%, it doesn't matter. It's still going to be rejected unless it's 100% to their standard. So that's where I know that I am going to make sure that I have something that's highly good for not only myself, but for others as well, and my pets especially. Now with doTERRA, you can use essential oils 3 different ways. There are topical, there is aromatic, and there's also ingestion. Now, how do you know that you can use it internally? Well, with doTERRA, it's pretty simple. With doTERRA, they actually have a supplement fact on the label, and it actually reads that you can dilute 1 drop in 4 fluid ounces of liquid. Now, the other thing that I will say about doTERRA is that 1 drop goes a long way. This is where that purity comes into play, and that CPTG. So this is peppermint essential oil. 1 drop of peppermint essential oil is equal to or more than 28 cups of tea. So if you got 28 cups of water, put 1 drop of peppermint essential oil in there, every single cup, that's 28, and you probably do more. So like when I use this for cooking and flavoring like brownies, I don't use a full drop. I only use the tip of the toothpick. Now, some people will want a full drop because they really want that peppermint flavoring, but for me, just the tip of a toothpick is more than enough. Trust me, I've done this more than once. So you have to be very careful and know that 1 drop goes a very long way. So topical use, that's pretty self-explanatory. Put the essential oil where it hurts, where you're having the discomfort at. If you are wanting to use it aromatically, like in our homes, use a diffuser. If you want to clean the air up in your home, diffusing is wonderful to do that because it's helping clean up the air and kill the pathogens in the air. So how many times do you have kids, or maybe you've got grandkids that come over and they kind of have the coughs, or they just came from school and you're like, I don't want to catch anything. So put some essential oil in your diffuser. They're all good for this, okay? Today, my topic is gardening because it's springtime. Everybody wants to get out there and get that garden going, right? I want to, but mine's struggling to get there because I just don't seem to find the time to do that, which is sad. I think I need a different type of garden. So today, I really want to help you understand what you can use in your garden and around your home, because not only is it our garden, but as spring gets here, we tend to get more critters that come into our home, like ants, especially those little teeny tiny ones that just annoy you. And then during the winter, fall months, you know, when winter starts coming, spiders are coming in the house. So there's things that you can use with essential oils. Now, I do have a lot of it in the chat and it's saved. So if you guys want to see the replay, you'll actually get that chat and you can see what's in there. And when it comes to our gardening and all the products that are out there on the shelf, a lot of those products are containing very harmful chemicals that not only can be dangerous to us, but it can be dangerous to our pets. Now, I live on a little farm, so I have chickens, I have little dogs, I have cats, and so I want to make sure that I'm using something that is non-toxic, but yet helpful in what I want to use it for. And so instead of reaching out for the chemical-based products that are on a shelf somewhere at your local stores, I'm going to use everything that I've used in my house for helping me with my health. Now, isn't that a win-win? Because we're getting more out of our essential oils. So it's cost-effective that way, right? Way cost-effective. Now, how do I know where to get all this information? Well, one is experimenting, right? Figuring out, think about it, right? What are you trying to do? And you get resources. So we have resources. This is one of the resources, and it's a book. Love this book, okay? It has everything about doTERRA essential oils, and it has tips, and it has recipes, it has everything about what we want. Plus, anymore, we have everything at our fingertips, right? We get to take our phone, which I don't have right here, which is probably a good thing, and we get to go on there and search and say, hey, what do I need for this? Or how about this? Just Google search whatever it is you're looking for, and you're going to find something. And you're going to find more than one article. What you have to do is decide, oh, do I want to do that? Or do I have that oil? Or do I want to do this over here? You make the decision of what you want to do. So when it comes to the garden, peppermint is actually one of those that is really good and very helpful for taking away the bugs in our gardens, okay? And what you don't do is use most of these recipes are a 16-ounce glass bottle, okay? You can use a metal. You don't really want to use plastic. You can, okay, only if you're going to use all of it like right now. And you use a specific type of plastic. So you don't just go down to the hardware store and get a plastic bottle. That's not a good plastic bottle. And what I mean by there are different numbers, 1, 2, 3, and up. And you do not want a 1, which is like your water bottle. You definitely don't want to put essential oils in that type of plastic because it will pull the petrochemicals out of the plastic. What does that mean? Plastic is made from petroleum, so they're all plastic is petroleum based. So it really gets me when I hear about areas that, oh, we want to get rid of fossil fuel, we want to get rid of this, and it's like every single day, how much plastic do you use? We all use it every day. We store food in it, okay? We get products in it. We cover leftovers with it. I mean, really, think about it. How many times do you reach for something that's plastic? So that's all petroleum based. I don't see where they're going to get rid of fossil fuels. It's possible, but highly unlikely. Anyhow, let's get back to the gardening. So peppermint is really good if you use a 16-ounce spray bottle. Okay, put 15 to 20 drops of peppermint oil in it, and then fill the remainder with water. You can use that to spray on your plants to unattract your pesky little bugs, okay? But here's what you have to think about is underneath the bottom side of the leaves too, not just the top. And you never want to use an essential oil on your plants during the heat of the day. Never want to do that. It's just like watering. You don't water during the heat of the day. You water usually in the evening time so that they have all that moisture overnight, or first thing in the morning. That's an important part. So if you're near a place where they do a lot of, you have a lot of farming, the likelihoods of them spreading water during the middle of the day is a little bit less than towards the evening time. Now, what else is peppermint good for? You can actually put a few drops of peppermint on a cotton ball, and you can actually put it around your garden if you want, and that deters it. If you don't want to actually put it on your plants or in the soil, you can actually put it on cotton balls. And what's really fun about that is you can actually put that, if you have those other pesky critters that come up from the underneath the soil, like your little molds and things like that, you can do that same thing with the peppermint and cotton ball and throw it down the hole. Same idea. It deters them, and it might go someplace else, but at least you can get it away from where you've got it, where they're coming, right? Especially if it's in your garden. That's not where you want them. Of course, they do, if you have really good soil, they do help you get some soil that's from way down under. There's a plus, right? More extra soil. All right, so what else? So we know that essential oils are not only safe for us, but they're safe for our plants. You're not going to create a problem with your plants. You can also think about, like, what are the companion plants that you would put in your garden around other plants, like marigolds, for instance. That deters a lot of insects. And tomato plants, basil is good to plant around your tomato plants to keep pests away from them. Now marigold, we don't have any. doTERRA does not have a marigold essential oil, but we do have other essential oils that are flower based. So you could try like a magnolia, or maybe even jasmine. You might try, but jasmine would probably be something that would attract like pollination, or even like essential oil, like wild orange is also going to be one of those that will attract the pollination, your bees for that purpose. But what you can do, so like your tomato plants and basil, you can use the basil essential oil, and you can put that in a spray bottle and spray your tomato plants, but you can also spray the soil around your basils, which will really help not only the nutrients or help your tomatoes grow, but it also deter those pests that you don't want on your tomato plants. Now, what about like slugs, things like that, or aphids, or all these other things, right? So, hey, my dog was chewing on something, something he wasn't supposed to chew on. So when you look at that, what can you use for those things? Now, I'm going to read you a list, and no, I don't have it in the chat. And I did put on there an ant spray in the chat, and the plant pest control, I did another, it's a different one than what I was just talking about with the peppermint. So you can look at that. And so there's always going to be a variation to different recipes. Now, here is something else. I'm going to read off a complete list. Keep up with me, because there's a lot. Now, if you have one of these books, like this one, Essential Life book, and you can get that at essentiallife.com. And the thing about this is that you will want to get a book like this, or some sort of book about essential oils, so that you have a resource. Resources are good outside of using our fingers and Google search. So here are a list of essential oils you can use for pest repellent. Ants. That's probably one of our number ones. Ants, you can use peppermint or spearmint. You can use, say, for aphids, you can use cedarwood, peppermint, or spearmint. Now for aphids, you really have to look, because aphids will be underneath a leaf. So sometimes you don't see them. So you really have to see them. Now another thing that you can do is for aphids is you can use like Castile soap or like Dawn dish soap, but the blue stuff, not the others, not the fragrant stuff. You want to use just the regular blue dish Dawn soap, dish soap, and you would dilute it with water. Okay, you don't use it full strength. So maybe like to an 16-ounce bottle, you'd probably use maybe 1 tablespoon of soap, and then the rest of it in water. That's all you will need, and it will not hurt your plants, but the aphids will not be able to survive. Okay, so that's just another thing that you can get out of your cupboard, which most of us have, and you can use that. But most of us have waters too, but not everybody has essential oils. There you go. Beetles, you can use peppermint or thyme. Caterpillars, you can use spearmint or peppermint. Chiggers, if you happen to live in the area that have chiggers, is lavender, lemongrass, sage, and thyme. Fleas, oh my gosh, how many of your animals are out there with fleas, right? You can use peppermint, lemongrass, spearmint, or lavender. So part of that too is if you've got a small animal, you can actually make them a flea collar that uses a couple of those essential oils. So that's why when they're outside, and then take it away when they're inside. Okay. Another thing that you can use is a product called Terra Shield that doTERRA has. It's an outdoor blend, and it is the same thing that you can use on your animals. And it comes in the 15 ml bottle like this, or it comes in a spray bottle. And then that spray bottle, or it's a 10 ml, 30 ml spray. You can actually spray some on your hands and then coat either your cat or your dog, whatever animal you have, and you can coat their, pet them after you've sprayed it on your hands. That will help them if they are outdoor with you, and to disattract those fleas. It is something too that if you have just the oil itself and not the spray, so the spray has it's got fractionated coconut oil with it, whereas the bottle, the 15 ml bottle, does not have. It's full, well actually it does, but it's a little bit stronger. And so you can actually take a drop of that and put it on the paw of each foot for your dog. Okay. And now, if you have a very small dog, like I do, I have very small dogs, you would only take and put your top of the, I can't talk, tap the top of the oil. Okay, so I'll show you. So this is an orifice reducer. That's that white thing with the hole. I would just tap the top of it and then put it on the bottom of their feet. I would not turn it and put a full drop and then put it on their feet because they're too tiny. Okay, they're very small. So keep that in mind. Unless you have a bigger dog, then you're going to want to use just a little bit more, but never more than a drop. That's all they're going to need. Really, it is. Okay, and so let's go on to the next. So that's about fleas, okay? And don't forget about those ticks as well. Ticks are another thing that I need to put in my chat, and I will before we go, is the your tick repellent. And if you look in, you can do a Google search of tick repellent. There's lemongrass, and I can't remember the full recipe, but I will get it on there for you. And that's another thing, especially if you're in a wooded area. Ticks are notorious for that. But the one thing I'm going to tell you, don't get rid of your possums. Possums eat ticks. So if you have a lot of possums running around, great. Let them eat the ticks for you, okay? I know a lot of people don't. They see them as a rodent, and they see them as no good, but really they are good for us because they will get rid of the ticks because they do eat them. Okay, that's a little tidbit that you probably didn't know, and probably something that everybody should know. Okay, let's go on to our list. All right, what else do we have? Flies. Oh my gosh. I know the fly season has already started for us. And it's like, as soon as it's a really warm day, it's like I have them all over the side of my house. It's incredible. It's like, where did they come from? So flies, lavender, peppermint, rosemary, and sage, okay? And all of these, you can just put 15 to 20 drops in a 16-ounce spray bottle with your water, okay? Fill it all up with water. Now, if you are doing the weeds, you want to use white vinegar. Don't use any other vinegar. Only use the white vinegar, because if you use like your apple cider vinegar and others, it'll actually attract, okay? So we want to make sure we don't attract. Gnats, oh my gosh. During the summer months here, it's lovely and you want to go outside, and as soon as the sun starts going down, you've got those pesky little gnats. Oh, drives me crazy. So we have patchouli and spearmint is really good for that. And you know, if you're outdoors, and even if you're in the evening time, if you're out there, if you have a portable or a way to get some electricity at your garden, put out a diffuser. You don't need to use the citronella candle, okay? Citronella is really good, right? And we have some really good products, but if you want to diffuse that in your area where you're working at, they won't bother you. So that's another idea, all right? Or just put some on some cotton balls and put them around you, or put some on you. Okay, you be the diffuser. They won't bother you. Okay, that's where that TerraShield comes into play too, because there's no DEETs or any harmful chemicals. It's great for you, your pets. It's great for your kids, grandkids, whoever it is, because it's not harmful and you can spray it directly on you. Lice. Oh my gosh. If you've got animals, lice is crazy, but there's different kinds of lice. Cedarwood, peppermint, and spearmint again. Can you see that their peppermint and spearmint are like common denominators here? Mosquitoes. Lavender, lemongrass, arborvitae, or arborvitae, depends on how you where you are. And then the repellent blend, which is the TerraShield. We just talked about that. Moths, a moth. You could use cedarwood, lavender, peppermint, and spearmint. Looks like there we go again, right? Plant lice. Now remember I said there are different kinds of lice. So your horses will have a kind of lice. Children will bring it home from school. That's a different kind of lice. And then there's plant lice. So there's all different types of lice. Peppermint and spearmint are really good for that. Slugs. Oh my gosh, how many of you have slugs and go, oh, they ate my plants. Anyway, white fur, or now that some of us don't have the white fur, and we can actually use Siberian fir and or cedar wood. Okay, so cedar wood or white fir. We don't have to use the salt. If you really want to use the salt, you can, but I think that's kind of cruel. I like to deter them versus get rid of them. Okay, snails, same thing. Let's think about cedarwood and patchouli. How many remember patchouli as the hippie oil? It's also very good for spiders as well. Think about that. And speaking of spiders, peppermint and spearmint are another one. And eucalyptus is another one that's good for spiders in your home. Okay, and then all you got to do is just spray certain areas, like up in the corners of your home. And you don't have to have anything hanging forever. I know some people will hang like eucalyptus or peppermint or lavender. They'll hang all these around. It's like, you can do that, but you don't need to. Ticks, we just kind of talked about that. Lemongrass, lavender, sage, and thyme. Weevils. Who has weevils? We don't have weevils here. Cedarwood, patchouli, and then sandalwood. Okay, sandalwood is more of the, it's a little thick, so you really want to add like a fractionated coconut oil. So now when I say fractionated coconut oil, this is the carrier oil that we like to use with our essential oils when we're using it topically, and also make sure that if you're ever using it on yourself, make sure that you make sure to know if you have sensitive skin, because if you see a redness, that doesn't mean that you're allergic to it. It just means that you have sensitive skin. Always put fractionated coconut oil with it, and if you're not sure, always put it at the bottom of your feet. Okay. The likelihoods of you being sensitive on the bottom of your feet is highly unlikely. But the bottom of your feet, the back of your neck are the #1 places to put your essential oils. Now, if you really want to get into knowing more about where to put essential oils, then do your research, because there's many other places you can do it. So like if you have vertigo, you want to put it behind your ears. If you have a larynx problem or a speaking issue, put it right on your throat, on your larynx. If you've got thyroid issues, put it on the thyroid. If you have heart, put it on over your heart. I mean, and I think you kind of get the idea that we can put it where the problem is. You don't have to take something internally in order for that to be useful. So when we put an essential oil on us, and when we apply it, it soaks into our skin within 30 seconds and gets to the bloodstream, which gets to every single cell within 30 minutes. That's incredible. So when it comes to us and using essential oils, that's why our bodies can decipher what it is, and it knows what to do with it because it's plant-based and it's natural. Its body automatically knows what to do with it. So that's why instead of being sick for 2 weeks, we might be only sick for a couple of weeks or a couple of days. Now, speaking of us, after you've had that long day in your garden, especially when you've been cooped up all winter and you haven't really been doing anything, you're probably going to have some sore muscles. What do you do for sore muscles? I know. It's called Deep Blue. Love that stuff. So Deep Blue, we have an essential oil, and we also have a cream. It's phenomenal for those achy muscles at the end of the day. But here's what I will say. If you've got the Deep Blue and you know you're going to go out and spend a few hours in the garden that you don't normally do, Put it on before you go because it will help. For one, gives you more oxygen in your bloodstream, and it will kind of dissipate a little bit of that muscle soreness so that we won't be as sore. And then when we're done, apply again so that you will be less sore, okay? That's a really important part. Another thing too is, what if you've been in the sun all day, right? So you can actually make an after sun blend of lavender, peppermint, and aloe juice. So like in a small bottle or a 8-ounce bottle, however size you want, apply this after the end of the day after you've been out in the sun. If you've been exposed to the sun too much, this will help deter any possible issues later, especially the lavender and the peppermint, because peppermint's very cooling to the body. Lavender is phenomenal for like sunburn. And if you've ever been sunburned or burnt, use your lavender, because lavender actually stops that burning process of the different layers of the skin. Yes, water can be beneficial, but the lavender is phenomenal. You will never want to do anything different. Everybody should have lavender in your kitchen, especially if you like to cook, because you will and get burnt sooner or later. And then of course we know aloe in itself is very healing to the skin as well. And so those things are going to be very useful and very helpful. Now, what about your hands? How many of you, whether it's garden gloves or not, how many of you get those cracked, dry fingers or just dry skin? Lavender is very good for the skin, and you can actually put a couple drops in your favorite lotion, okay? Or you get a product called Correct X from doTERRA. It's actually a little, it's like the Neosporin, and it comes in a small tube. And that is really good for not only burns, okay, but it's very healing to those really dry, cracked fingertips that you might have. Very, very healing. Now, a lot of these things, there's lots of things we can do for ourselves and helping us into being more healthy, but this is about the garden and what you can do to keep away pests. Or attract pollinators, right? Because if you don't have flowers yet in your garden, then, or specific kinds, then you can attract those pollinators by using specific oils, like my flower-based oil, essential oil. And then one thing I didn't talk about is fungus. And I know, like, in some states, marijuana is legal. And there are some backyard people that grow their own for medicinal reasons. And sometimes they have a problem with the molds. Now, that's a huge thing with the marijuana plant. And so, or cannabis plant is what I probably should say it. Say it right, right? But you can use either Melaleuca or On Guard, which is a protective blend from doTERRA. Both of those will help in keeping away the mold spores, and it will not harm your plants, and it doesn't harm you. Melaleuca is the highest antibacterial that you can get on the planet, and so you can use like the same thing, a spray bottle, and combine it in a small spray bottle, not your 16-ounce, not your big one, more like an 8-ounce or 4-ounce. And 10 to 20 drops, depending on what size you're using, of Melaleuca or the On Guard, and just spray it on your plants. You know, fill the rest of the with water, of course. But you're going to only do that if you have anything going on outside and it's in the sun. Then you definitely don't want to do that during the heat of the day. You only do that during the times when it's very cool. Okay. But you only do that once or twice a week, and you not only want to spray the plant, you want to spray the soil, because a lot of times you get those pesky little lice that are the aphids and different things that are actually in the soil. And so you want to spray the soil, okay? Not just for the fungus. You want to get rid of the critters that are in the soil. So with that, so there's not a whole lot more that I'm aware of. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot more ideas on what you can do for gardening. And part of that is when you are doing those searches, and doTERRA actually has some more information about gardening on, you know, the quality of your soil is important, and making sure that you don't cross-pollinate buying products like pumpkins and acorns. They will cross-pollinate. This happened to me one year, and it's like, what the heck? I had this huge green fruit that I'm like, it looked like an acorn squash, but it was big like a pumpkin. I was like, what the heck? So I had to do my research and found out that yes, those two can pollinate together, and it's like, oh my goodness. It was really quite comical, but it was interesting. And yes, I still use them. I use them like the Danish squash and not the pumpkin. I did not use it because it was all that, but it just got big. So anyway, be careful about where you put those. You want to make sure that you're putting them about 4 or 5 feet apart so that they have room to grow. And a lot of us tend to put things too close together. Now's the time to put, you know, any transplants that you've already been growing from seed, put it in the ground, because most of us are done with frost and cold weather. And then all of your seeds for like lettuce and carrots, those kind of things should be in your soil at this point in time. Okay. Let's see, what else can I tell you about? Just be careful, just be mindful. Make sure that you have the right spacing between each other, and make sure that you're also, and these are things that I like don't think about till after the fact. It's the experience, right? Don't put something that's going to be really bushy and then it keeps the sunshine away from another row of something you've planted and it doesn't want to grow. Like bush beans and carrots, don't put them together. Because your carrots won't grow because they can't. There's no good sunshine there. The bush beans consume everything. So there you go. There's my tidbit for the day. Just don't overcrowd everything. And if you're putting in seeds, make sure that you're weeding through. So there's a lot about gardening that you can find out more about. And you can always visit doterra.com and find out some more things. Or just Google search doTERRA and gardening, or just gardening with essential oils, and you'll find all kinds of different recipes and ideas that will help you get through this year, this spring and summer, with a great garden and an abundance, because you're going to be able to keep all those pesky little bugs off, so that you don't go out one day and go, who's been eating on my plant? All right. So with that, that's going to be our today's call, and I hope that you get some value out of this, and we will see you again next week. I do this every week at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and I love being able to help you understand more about essential oils. And let's get through. Oh, one thing I was going to tell you too, I almost forgot. If you want more recipes at your disposal, and I put it in the chat, you can also visit my website, which is Naturals for the number 4 Animals, and it's in the chat. If you go there, there is a tab called Drop Lee, And if you want to join the community for free, you can do that. There's nothing there. It is absolutely free, and you can access a whole bunch of recipes from other people. And I hope that you will want to do that, because that's beneficial to all of us. So it's not just, it's experience-based. It's not what, the books and things like that. I mean, we can get that, but this is different. So again, that tab is Droply on my site, Naturals for Animals, and join the community and find some more recipes. And if you've got a recipe that works really well, you can add your recipes in there. And I think that's wonderful that we can add those recipes. So you guys have a great week, and we will see you next week, and we'll figure out what that topic will be, because I never know until it comes up. Anyway, you guys have a great week, and thank you so much for being here. And for those of you who are watching the replay, thank you for doing that. And I look forward to any kind of chats or comments one way or the other. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.